Kia ora, and welcome to Friday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect New Zealand. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news Qatar is being hit hard by Iranian missiles today, upending the global trade in natural gas. In fact, it is clear now there will be a protracted energy shock that everyone needs to adjust to. The impacts are ahead and aren't going away. Elsewhere, US jobless claims came in at 190,000 last week, a slightly bigger dip than seasonal factors would have expected. There are now 2.1 million people on these benefits, marginally less than a year ago, but still above 2-year-ago levels. And the Philly Fed's factory survey for March rose from February, although that wasn't due to new orders, which retreated. Clearly, these businesses are not involved in new home construction because new home sales fell sharply nationally in the US in February to their lowest level since early 2023. US wholesale inventories fell as well in January, and their inventory to sales ratio fell even sharper. So there is plenty of capability to rebuild inventories to normal levels. But clearly, most businesses aren't doing that, choosing to boost cash flow with lower inventory levels. Elsewhere, there are a number of central bank policy rate decisions released overnight. China held its prime loan rates unchanged at record low levels. Taiwan left its policy rate unchanged at 2%. Japan also held unchanged at 0.75%. Switzerland held at 0%. Sweden held at 1.75%. And the ECB was also unchanged at 2.15%. There were others like the Czech Republic, England, and Moldova, but none of these were changed either. In Australia, their jobless rate rose to 4.3% in February, up from 4.1% forecast and the level seen in the previous 2 months. This is back to the November level. Full-time jobs fell 30,500, while part-time jobs rose 79,500. Their participation rate hit a 4-year high of 66.9%. And staying in Australia, the Category 5 tropical cyclone packing 260 km/h winds is now heading far north Queensland, but it is way up there above Cairns and Port Douglas, which isn't taking the brunt of it. It may affect Weipa, though, the source of bauxite for our Bluff smelter. Global container freight rates were up only 2% last week to be down 4% from year-ago levels. In fact, these rates have been remarkably stable out of China. But inbound rates to Europe jumped 10%, and transatlantic rates into the US dived 35%. But twisted supply chain pressures will likely change this ahead. Bulk freight rates rose 7.5% in the past week to be 24% higher than year-ago levels. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.28%, up 6 basis points from yesterday at this time. And the price of gold will start today down $293 from yesterday at $4,587 an ounce. Silver was down a massive $6.50 at $70.50 an ounce. American oil prices are holding up at just on $95 a barrel, while the international Brent price is now just over $107 a barrel. Both were high earlier, though. The Straits of Hormuz remain no-go areas for most, with the situation still extremely unstable. The ships transiting are approved by Iran, which holds all the cards at present. They are talking about charging fees to transit safely. The Kiwi dollar is little changed against the US dollar from yesterday, still just on 58.4 US cents. Against the Aussie, we're up 40 basis points at 82.9 Australian cents. We're down 80 basis points against the yen, though. Against the euro, we're basically holding at 50.7 euro cents. That all means our trade weight index starts today up less than 10 basis points at just under 62.1. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $69,465 and down 2.6% from this time yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been moderate at just on plus or minus 2.4%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. We'll do this again on Monday.